This is Moments of Truth with Andrew Marks, co-founder of Success Hacker. Today, I am really excited to have with me somebody I've known for many years and have a huge deal of respect for. Oh, wait, it's just Bill Cushard, General Manager at ServiceRocket. Bill, tell us a bit about your company and what you're responsible for in your role.
Such a glowing intro, Andrew. I can't even believe it. I'm so glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here, Bill. You know how much respect I have for you. We kid.
Yes, it's mutual for sure. Yeah, I'm Bill from ServiceRocket, and ServiceRocket is in the business of software adoption, and one of our services is LearnDot, and so I'm the general manager of that business unit, and we help software companies develop their customer education programs.
Great. Thanks, Bill. I appreciate you spending some time for me today. You know, even though I razz you, I respect the hell out of you. So I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Yeah, me too.
So, Bill, what's your perspective on the customer success team's responsibility when it comes to a renewal or expansion?
Yes, there's a lot of debate on this, isn't there? Like who should own it? It's the sales team or the customer success team. And many of us have had the experience in our companies, especially in the olden days, where you work at a services center and there's always the initiative to get services people to say, to upsell, this whole upsell thing, and it almost always fails because we say, oh, services people don't have the sales DNA and they don't want to do it. And that's why services or customer service or whatever that is. And so I think there's some truth to that. But I also think that a person who is in a services role, whether their company is set up for making them or not the owner of the renewal, we all need to take a personal responsibility in helping expand the relationship with our customers. So even if it isn't my job as a CSM to get the signature and do the proposal and do the expansion, you can't imagine a more important number to the executive team than expansion revenue or net revenue retention. So if you're not helping do that just on a personal level or taking personal responsibility for it, then you're probably not adding all the value you can. And if you want to distinguish yourself from your peers who might be more services oriented or service oriented, who don't have a quota, I just think that it's a differentiating skill to say, you know what, my customers that I own, I'm going to make sure that I can say that my customers are expanding. They're adding more modules, they're adding more users, they're buying other products because I'm helping them achieve the outcomes or do whatever it is in the product and help them adopt it. The normal customer success stuff I'm supposed to do with my customers. And I'm a sort of an outsider in this particular topic, but I'm not seeing that. And from an education point of view, people need to learn that skill. I think it's a vital skill.
Well, and I think you need to separate, there's the process, right? You separate the process from what customer success should be doing, which is creating an environment that mitigates the friction associated with a renewal or an expansion, right? And that's all about what customer success is supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be delivering value. If we're delivering value and we're doing it in a way that is painless and in a way that the customer experience matches the customer expectations, and we're helping them hit their objectives and and people say that the whole concept of desired outcome is an overused phrase, but it's true. What their desired outcome is, and we're doing everything to set that up. We're teeing it up. Then I personally believe the process itself should be handled by somebody in some sort of sales role or administrative role in a back office, because the risk you create when customer success is responsible for the renewal process is that it clouds that distinction between, is this person selling to me or are they my trusted advisor? Because you can't do both. You have to either be my trusted advisor or you got to be my sales rep. But I can't, it's an incredibly fine line. You can't be both of those people, because when you're selling, you're representing the vendor. When you're being a trusted advisor, you should be thinking about the customer and what their needs are. And that's a hard line to navigate.
Yeah, I guess I do agree in the sense that there's a possible, conflict of interest there, right? Where I'm not looking out for you, I'm just trying to sell you something. But on the other hand, you know, if you think about real professional salespeople, especially in complex sales, they really are and can be a trusted advisor. They go into companies and opportunities before there's even a need, and they develop the need, and they work with people, and they learn the customer, they learn the needs intimately. And what they're selling, if they're good, is solving a problem for somebody. So if I go in as a big company and sell a $5 million deal, it's probably because what I'm selling is that if you invest 5 million in my thing, that your company's going to make 100 million because something's going to get better. So yes, I did a quota thing and I did something for me and I can buy a house now. On the other hand, so can you, customer, because you bought something and you implemented it properly and I sold you the right thing. I didn't just sell you the thing you didn't need. And so now again,
Now,
there is a fine
how
line.
many of those people realistically, you've been in this business as probably as long as I have, how many of those people realistically are out there?
Well, I mean, yeah,
Is it
I'm with
are
you.
we
It's like,
talking about a unicorn? Right? Are we talking, is that a unicorn individual? Somebody that's that, I have not met that many salespeople that have that unique skill. I mean, they're out there and I worked with some of them.
and those are probably the really good ones. So in the 80-20 rule, or the top 1%, maybe they're the 1%ers of the sales account executive world,
Yeah.
um, and maybe it's unrealistic to expect that all of us should do it. And frankly, if I'm a SDR and I have a quota for booking meetings, I mean, all I care about is booking the meetings. And so
Hmm.
maybe our incentives are wrong. But there's this idea that if I'm a CSM, there needs to be something besides just helping the customer do their thing, because even if I just help them do their thing and they realize the value that they bought the software for, it doesn't mean they're going to automatically buy more or add more people or do more, because they're just going through life. There is an element that salespeople do well, is that you have to sort of push the agenda. And I think it's a mistake for a CSM to assume that if I help them achieve outcomes, they will be a better customer. There is an element of, I'm going to make that extra phone call and talk about, hey, you've done this outcome of yours. If only we can do one more outcome. I know I could help you. If only you added this other team. It's only $10 a person. Or if only you need this extra module. I know you saw it in the demo last year and you didn't like it then, but I think you need to see it now because we've had our QBRs and blah, 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 blah. I know you now, and I can. So to me, I can sell and be a trusted advisor. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's going to buy from me. And some people might perceive that as me just being a salesperson and not caring about me. But maybe it's a pushing of the issue, because if you don't push it, there's a risk they're not going to increase. Someone else is calling them. Your competitor is calling into that account, taking a long view and saying, I know you're in a contract and I know you like what you have, and I'm just here to talk to you about what's possible. And that's okay if you don't buy from me today, but I think whatever, someone else is calling them.
Yeah,
It's
but I
so
mean, from a customer success perspective, if you're doing your job, that other person's calling them, because
that's a
that
good point. Yeah.
that's that trust. If you've established that trusted advisor relationship, that person is, you're going to find that out, and you're going to do what you need to do in customer success to mitigate the risk of that, right?
That's a really good point. Your customer's going to tell you, hey, I'm investigating this other thing because I'm tired of your blue buttons, even though I like most of what else you do. I mean, whatever.
Right. And your customer success person is going to say, boy, if that blue button thing is a real issue, if that's something that's really
Totally.
bugging you, let me go run it up the product flagpole and we'll get those changed to green, which is what you want, right? If
But what I
that's really
really want
bugging you, because
is,
that's how important it is,
on
right?
the other hand, what I really want is that to get the customer to commit to me and say, yes, if you get that green button done for me, yes, I will consider adding my other team or buying that other module or doing that one extra thing. And that's what you really want to have happen. It's not the button itself.
The other, a different perspective though, is it's a quid pro quo type of thing. It's like,
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
if you do this, and does that kind of push you more over onto the sales side of the fence? Right, because what you could do is you could say, listen, I want to get those blue buttons turned green for you because that's what you want. I'm going to get them turned green for you, right? Because I'm your trusted advisor, because I'm looking out for
Correct.
you, right? And
Correct.
when they get turned green, then you go back and say, look, I got your buttons turned green. I care about you. I care about you as a customer. You're important to us. Can we now talk about adding that other group added on? And then the discussion is, it's just a different approach. I believe that sales has a number, success has a number as well, right? Sales has a new revenue number. Success has a sustaining revenue number, right? And so they both have numbers, right? But sales path to their new revenue number is a very different path and a very different process than success's path to that sustaining revenue number. Sales side is all very much we go through, there's a pipeline, and we qualify deals, and we go through this process, and maybe there's an RFP, there's a demo, here's a justification, yada, 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 and there's this promise that's made, sign here, okay. Success then gets the promise that's made, has to make it a reality, and in the process of doing that, has to build and maintain a relationship so this person trusts them, and you have to hit their objectives and their desired outcomes, and if you do all of that, demonstrate the value that was made during the promise phase, also known as sales, then you've become the hero, and that customer believes in you. They believe in the vendor as a company, because the promises have been fulfilled, but more importantly, they believe in their customer success manager, because that person was responsible for getting them to promise fulfillment.
Yes, I agree with all of that, except one small thing.
Yeah.
The fact that the CS function has what was the word you used? Sustaining revenue goal, right?
Yes.
If that's true, and the sustaining of the revenue, meaning I renew at the same rate every year, that's actually losing. All right. So because if I renew 1 year later at the same rate, I'm already behind. I'm losing. I have to say, you know what? I helped you achieve that outcome. You trust me. You got that thing. Why don't we do more of that? That's the statement that's not happening.
Okay, and that's okay. That's a valid point. And when I say sustaining revenue, I mean renewals plus expansion.
Fair enough.
Over 100% net revenue retention.
Yeah, fair enough. Yep. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
that's what I mean. And I just think that and I could be wrong because you really are the expert in this, but the customer success competency model of all the things that should be part of that skill, like accounting has it, right?
Yeah. We have one of those, by the way. We have a customer success,
right? You're the one.
We did.
Let me ask you: is sales one of those competencies?
It's not.
Oh, that's okay. I argue it needs to be one of the 7 or 9 or 10 or whatever, like the third one or the 9th one. That's what I would argue, because I need to know a little. I need to know enough to push the relationship to the next level.
Right, but
I can't throw it over the fence.
But do you push the relationship to the next level by knowing sales, or do you push the relationship to the next level by knowing your customer?
That's perfect question. Right. That's a good point. It could be from doing the services. It could very well be.
Yeah, it should be. It should be.
Yeah, maybe that's why it's not. So that's why I'm saying this is why I love this conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because it's the same reason when I suggested the professional salesperson is a trusted advisor, and you asked, well, how many people are there? I argue that the salesperson also needs to learn one of their competencies ought to be value delivery, and how to discover what someone needs, how to propose a solution that helps them achieve it, and then how to persuade them. So there's a services element that a sales job needs to have as part of their DNA as well, as part of their competency model. And I don't think it exists there either.
It doesn't necessarily exist, and you need to remember the reason why, in my opinion, is because our comp plans don't, right? It's all about the comp, right? It's all and you've got sales teams that are monthly or quarterly driven, and their comp is tied to it. I've been a huge fan of tying not just sales compensation to hitting a number, but some sort of value realization, or let's carve back a certain percentage until the customer's gone live, and they've what a fast time to value type of metric or something like that. So until sales process and compensation evolve, that's just not going to happen.
Yep.
You know, and
Incentives
they're not,
matter.
honestly, they're not wired that way. They're coin operated. You know, lots of the best salespeople I know are coin operated. Doesn't make them bad people. That's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. Your job is to go out and hunt new business. Go hunt new business. But this is also why I don't believe that people who are in traditional account manager roles, you know, those folks that used to be AEs, account executives, and no longer want to go and hunt and just want to kind of, you know, they're farmers and they want to farm a set of accounts, a set of named accounts, that it's not that easy or that natural of a transition from account management to customer success because of what the first part of their career was. So I'm not saying it can't be done, because we've plenty of examples where we've trained people and we've moved them from account management to customer success, but it's a different set of skills and it's a different focus. And it's, as I said before, it's a different process to the number.
Yep.
You know?
Very good. I love this debate.
I love it too. And as usual, I love talking to you, man. Bill, I really enjoyed our conversation and we need to do this again. Thanks for spending some time with me.
My pleasure, Andrew.